Alright Israel, I want you to take a good look at this chart here. This is the architecture of the Illuminati influence on hip hop. Now I want you to realize the names at the very top, on down. Now at the very bottom, you'll see who these people are. Now these are the lowest of the lowest. And these are our people except for Cardi B and Drake, who was in Mamzer. But you look at the people at the very bottom. These are the ones that are doing the wicked work. Now the ones at the very top, their primary job is to make sure that the status quo is met, and making sure the ones at the very bottom are pushing a life of death, crime, drugs, exploitation of our black women, the worship of self-idolizing, the worship of money, gold, chains, cars, and all sorts of wicked stuff. And the people at the top, their primary job is to make sure that status quo is met and that it is being pushed by the people at the very bottom into the so-called black communities. This is what they do. Now I want you to look at the tier 1 in the upper left corner. So everybody from tier 1 all the way down to tier 3, these are not our people, Israel. You got to understand, these are our enemies. Why do you think that they are at the top? These are the Khazarians who run the whole hip-hop world. See, our people at the bottom, they're just foot soldiers. They're doing what they're told to be doing. They're told to push a life of death, crime, drugs, and prison life, and the worship of self and all sorts of wickedness to their own people. And this is what they push constantly. Now Snoop Dogg just recently inherited Death Row. And notice he did not buy Death Row. He does not own Death Row. So he is the face, he is the foot soldier to push this wickedness out to our people. But the real people who own all of these companies are the ones pulling the strings, and the ones at the bottom are the puppets.
You niggas ain't never made white folks slave. How y'all gonna tell, how we gonna dictate any motherfucking thing to white folk? Nigga, white folks give us our name. They told us we was niggas. We didn't know we was niggas. White folks dictate to us, nigga. Who we sitting around waiting on a stimulus check from? We ain't got no nigga. We hollering by say, nigga, when y'all gonna give us our money? We looking at the white man, homie. When we were needing unemployment. How we gonna dictate anything to them white people, homie? So this they country. They came over here and fought battles and cleared this motherfucker out and made these roads that we can drive down. They went over there and got them Africans and made them Africans they slaves. The Africans didn't go get the white boy and make the white boy they slave. They came over here and fought the Indians. They came over here and put law down. So until we start putting law down, till we start being willing to spill some blood for what our demands are, we can't tell that white boy nothing. That white boy like to spill blood.
Something else was used against the students that drove the final nails into the coffin, killing the movement.
What stopped it, of course, almost dead in its track, and not by any accident, was a widespread and deliberately organized widespread use of drugs. The fact that a decision was made, and I think most of you are familiar with the broadcast of the mafia defector who went on public media to declare what happened and outline in great detail the great plan of how to destroy the black youth of the nation, starting in New York. He said in a meeting 20 miles outside of New York City, the great decision was made. He said he didn't have to guess about it, and those who heard him know that I'm quoting him almost verbatim, because he was there. And the decision was to concentrate the distribution of drugs on the black youth of the nation, starting in New York. Starting in New York, beginning in the elementary school, and that to punish, even on the pain of death, any of the distributors who invaded the white community or predominantly white schools. That New York and other large cities were to be divided up into districts. The district commander, black, was to be given any kind of car he wanted, Mercedes, Rolls Royce, anything, because this would be a part of the sales pitch. Said blacks just love fine cars, and he'd drive around through the community in his fine car, and some of his key assistants, and he'd be identified, he'd be known, and that sort of stuff. And so the stories, I'm not going any further into it. But thus it began, and the spread over the country. And we fell for it. Now, one thing was important. That the thing to attract the blacks, more than any other thing, more than the drug itself, but to spread the word, have a number of key young people in it, and spread the word that this is the end thing. So that'll get them. Just say it's the end thing, and they'll brave the fires of hell to be a part of the end thing.
So that's our story of the decade of struggle. We put together this film to pay particular homage and tribute to the extraordinary young people of that era. And we give the story to our young people of today in particular, in the hope that they'll stop and think about much of the negativism that they're caught up in nowadays and try to understand why.